Welcome to Learn with Amin. In this video, we take a look at the most famous problem from lead code, which is two-sum problem. So first of all, let us read what the problem is. It says, given an array of integers, return the indices of the two numbers such that they add up to a specific target. And the most important point to note here for the efficiency is that we can assume that there is only one exact solution for the problem, and you may not use the same element twice. So here we are given an array. So this is an example. This is an array. It has 4 elements. Now if we add any two numbers in this array, it should lead to a target, which is basically 9. Now if you look at it, this is like a very simple example. 2 comma 7, they lead up to 9, correct? And the indices of 2 is 0 and 7 is 1, so we need to basically return the value of 0 comma 1, which are the indices of the elements that sum up to the target. So how do we do this programmatically? So for the first method, let us look at the brute force method, which would be like a simple method to understand. In this we have 2, 7, 11 and 15. So in brute force method, first we iterate through the array, and within that iteration we iterate again, taking a element of reference. So what I mean is, first of all, we will assume or set our reference point to 2, and then we iterate among the other elements of the array, and we will be taking a look at the element which can add up to 9 by being a pair to 2. So 2 plus something, if it is leading to 9, then we can stop the iteration, and that would give us the result 2 elements that sum up to 9, and then we can capture those indices, and the indices are to be outputted. And for example, instead of 7 we have 6, and the 7 is here, and then we have 2 over here, and this one is 12. Now in the first iteration, like when we have set the reference to 12, no other element would be adding up to 9 if we add with 12. So so after this iteration is done, then we take the reference point of 6, and then we don't take a look at the numbers which are before 6, but we just take a look at the numbers that are after 6, and we try to find out a number that adds up to 9. So there won't be any such number, because 6 plus 2 is 8 and 6 plus 7 is 13. Now if then in the next iteration we have the step reference point of 2, then we'll take a look at the elements after 2, that is, we'll take a look at 7. So 2 plus 7 will become equal to 9, and then we will be outputting the indices of 2 comma 7, which is 2 comma 3. That would be the answer in that case. Now when we are talking about element 1 plus element 2 is equal to 9, that means we are talking about element 2 is equal to 9 minus element 1. So 9 is basically the target, so you can write target over here. So basically our formula is, if we have the iteration for element 1, we are going to do the operation of target minus element 1, and we are going to search if there is the value of this difference in the array. So basically we are searching or solving for element 2. So this is the brute force method. There is another method which is called as hash map method. I will also be doing this programmatically, but let us first understand. In the hash map, we basically will create a dictionary, and we basically usually the dictionary is there will be an index value which will be associated to a particular value. So the index, there will be index first and then the value, but in our problem what we are going to do is we will be associating value to an index. Okay, and for that what we do is we first let us assume our array is 12, 6, 2 and 7, right? So we will be creating a dictionary wherein 12 is associated with 0, 6 is associated with 1, 2 is associated with 2 and 7 is associated with 3. And for this we will be performing one iteration. So there won't be in the brute force method we basically have two loops. Okay, one loop within another loop, whereas in the hash map problem we will be having only one loop and we won't be having another loop within that loop. So what we do is we after we have created this particular hash map we will be doing complement is equal to target minus element 1, and we will be searching if this complement is existing in the mapping that we have done, and if it exists then we will just be returning the index of that particular complement. So that would give us the index of the complement, and we already have the index of the element 1, and this element 1 is actually not a constant. We are using that particular loop to loop over the values in the array. So this is the basic understanding of the two-sum problem. Now in the brute force method we will have the time complexity of O of n square, because it will be having one loop within another loop, and the space complexity will be 0 of O of 1. And for the hash map method we will be having the time complexity of O of n, and we will be having the space complexity of O of 1. Now let us go into the problem, into the programming of it. So first of all, in the brute force method we write a class for the solution, and we define a function which is toSum, and it will be taking some arguments. So first of all there will be the array of the argument, and then there will be the target element, then we will be ranging across the length of the array. So that would be range length of numbers. Okay, and then once we have set a particular reference element, we are going to check for the complement in the elements that come after this reference element. So in order to do that iteration, we will be having for j in range of, we would do I plus 1, because we are only looking at the elements after the reference element. So it will be iterating up to length of numbers, and then what we are going to do is, if there is a number in the second iteration that is equal to the complement, which is target minus nums of I, then we return the indices of the elements that sum up to the target. So we will be returning this value. Okay, and in order to run an example, let us create an object. So how the object is created is, solution. So this is how you create an object. Solution1 is equal to solution class, and then we are defining an array. So if you look at this example, it is very simple because the two elements are at the starting itself. So let us take this example. So 12, 6, 2, 7. So instead of 12, we can have 4. Yeah, we can have 1. So 1, 6, or let us have 4, 6, 2, 7. So this is an example that I am taking, and the target that we are looking for is it should sum up to 9. And in order to get our output, we are using the print statement. We will be using the object in order to call the function within the class to which the object belongs. So this is toSum, and then we pass the arguments nums comma target, and then now we run it. So control B, this is Sublime Text. So as you can see, it is index 2 and index 3. So which is index 2 is 2 and index 3 is 7. So that is 2 plus 7 is equal to 9. So this is basically the brute force method. As I have explained, the time complexity is O of n square. We are using one loop within another loop. So let us upgrade this to hash map, the solution 2 that we have discussed. So that would be class of solution, and then we are defining a function which is toSum, and then this is self comma nums comma target, and here I am defining a dictionary. So this is how you define an empty dictionary, and I am not going to use the reserved word dict. I am going to use it as a variable myDict, and then I am going to have only one loop. So for I in range of, I am going to iterate it till nums. Okay, and then for the first time, so what is the complement formula that I have is complement is equal to nums of target minus nums of I. So this would be my complement, and this complement it changes with the value of nums of I. Okay, now we are going to check if complement is present in my dictionary. Then we are going to return the indices of the two elements that map up to the target value. What is the index of nums of I, which is the element 1? It is I. Now what is the index of the element 2, which is basically the complement? Okay, so how do we know the complements index? So we, as I have told you, that the my dictionary, it contains the mapping from the value to the index. So if we just do myDict of the complement, then we get the index of the complement element. So but now you can imagine, so in the first for the first time, when I is set to the value of 4, we don't have my dictionary. So my dictionary is basically empty, and what we are trying to do is we'll do complement is equal to 9 minus 4, which is equal to 5. If complement in 5 in my dictionary, if 5 in my dictionary, then only we return something, but my dictionary is basically empty. So So the first time nothing will be done, and we have also not created my dictionary, so we need to create that my dictionary. And this particular first iteration, the first iteration we make use to define my dictionary, which is my dictionary. The mapping should be done value to index, right? So that would be basically index is I and value is equal to nums of I. So we are mapping value and index, value comma index, instead of doing index comma value. So this is done in the first iteration. Now in the second time, what happens is I becomes equal to 1. So that means we are looking at the element 6. So complement is equal to target minus nums of I, which is 9 minus 6, that is equal to complement is equal to 3. If complement in my dictionary, so we don't have the that 3 value in the my dictionary, so nothing will be done. Then we look at 2. Okay, so basically the index of 2 is also 2. So for 2 in range, so it satisfies, then it goes complement is equal to target 9 minus nums of 5, which is equal to 2. So basically our complement is 7, and if complement, which is 7, is in my dictionary, okay, of course there is 7 in my dictionary, and this condition will be satisfying, and we are going to return two values. One is I value, which is basically 2, and my dictionary of complement, which is my dictionary of 7. So 7 is associated with its index, so which is 3, so it will be returning 3. So we are basically going to return 2 comma 3. Now if you run this, so we are returning the values of 3 comma 2. So that's it. This is how you are going to do the hash map to solve the problem of 2 sum, and here the time complexity is O of n, and the space complexity is O of 1. Thank you for watching. Keep subscribed. Take care.